Welcome ladies and gentlemen to our biggest offline review yet. Today we are looking at the PS5 disc build for the somewhat controversial Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. How much content does one of the largest digital playgrounds on PS5 offer for players of disc? How do the newly added story bits influence the experience? And regardless of all of that, is the disc build in a well-preserved state? Join us on a journey into the criminal underworld of 1980s Japan. For everyone new to this franchise, let us give you a breakdown about what Yakuza 0 and the series from RGG Studios is all about. The story is centered around Kiryu Kazuma, a young up-and-coming Yakuza who joined the life as an orphan. He's earning a little money on the side as the muscle for a loan shark when one of his collection jobs goes horribly wrong and the person ends up dead. And of all places, the body is found in these so-called empty lots, a tiny spot of land in the middle of Tokyo that is key for a huge real estate project, promising eternal wealth to the one who can get it into their possession. Since Japan's entire underworld seems to be gunning for it, this kicks off a complex plot of secrets, betrayal and conspiracies. Meanwhile, the second protagonist, Goro Majima, simply tries to find a way back into the Yakuza life in Osaka. He was tortured and exiled for attempting an unsanctioned assassination job to climb the ranks within the crime families. Little does he know what it entails when he is offered another murder job in exchange for his re-affiliation with his former Yakuza family. Majima's and Kiryu's fate will inevitably become connected. Over the course of the game, you will play both characters in what is essentially an open-world brawler, switching between them every few chapters. Both characters come with multiple individual fighting styles that you can improve through investing money in the skill tree and special trainers to unlock specific moves. This also includes using a large variety of weapons if you wish. While the fighting is already very entertaining, the two cities you play in offer countless opportunities to explore and a ton of side activities. You can encounter 100 sub-stories that are sometimes part of the progression. Others lead you to a fascinating variety of stories and quests, from deeper looks into Japanese culture to references of the other Yakuza games. Fans of the series will recognize this handsome fella here, all the way to super cringy encounters like rescuing a victim out of the hands of the Shore PP cult. You can also unlock even more side activities that way. Yakuza 0 is full of them, as temporary part of the story or on their own. You will run a real estate agency, customize cars for pocket racing, manage a cabaret club, play a billion different minigames like Mahjong or multiple Sega arcade machines, and then there's fishing, a catfight arena that works on a rock-paper-scissors principle, and many more. You can easily spend dozens of hours on those alone before you eventually dive back into the conspiracy around the empty lot. So how does the disc build fare? Pretty good actually, as you would expect from previous releases from RGG Studios. The game even comes with Japanese, English and Chinese dub on disc now. However, there are some odd differences compared to the PS4 release of Yakuza 0. We found a typo in previously existing text. Not a big deal, but it gives you an interesting insight into development. They seemingly had to rewrite certain parts from scratch instead of using existing text files. A more obvious note is the pop-in. Throughout the game, you can see textures and foliage load in rather close to your location at times. This is a noticeable downgrade, as we can't remember seeing something similar in the PS4 release. Certainly not to this extent. We also saw a few models twitching their heads in a few cutscenes later in the story. Only for a brief moment, but it was still noticeable. During one of the duels in the catfight arena, we encountered another bug. Despite having the upper hand in one of the button mashing sections, our opponent was awarded the victory. We were still able to win the fight overall, but this can be rather annoying, especially if the game screws you like this on top of the seemingly big RNG factor in these battles. final note about gameplay: previously released DLC packs can now be unlocked immediately at the Bob Utsunomiya Zero NPC. Alright, time to address the elephant in the room: the story cutscene additions. There are some bits that don't matter too much. The new cutscene showing Kiryu and Nishiki fooling around in their car after the finale is a nice touch, for example. Where it gets trickier is when the game outright changes the outcome of certain events compared to the PS4 release. If you want to go in blind, better skip to the summary of the video now. We are getting into spoiler territory. First, there's the loan shark. His knowledge of Kiryu being framed for murder could be a major pivot point in the story. Naturally, he gets killed to keep the conspiracy secret. At least in the original. In the director's cut, however, not only does he survive, Kiryu even meets him later in the game. He ultimately lets him go and solves things differently, instead of using him as a witness or something. This addition feels very weird. You wouldn't expect that the ones behind the conspiracy leave this end open, risking that someone could discover the loan shark and unveil the plot. Pretty inconsequential from a Yakuza perspective, don't you think? An equally big and nonsensical change involves the death of Lee. He dies in a gigantic car bomb while trying to help Majima flee Osaka with the girl Lee was protecting all this time. The girl gets captured in the process, and for Majima, desperation is closing in on him from all sides now. Just as there seemed to be an out to take faith into his own hands again, his only ally is gone. The ruthlessness of the situation really aids Majima's character development. You feel with him and you want him to get his revenge. Later, it is revealed that Lee somehow survived. It doesn't change the fact that Majima needs to go down his path, but it takes the weight out of a scene that meant so much for the development of story and characters. Given that you see Lee's horrible condition during this segment, it's no real relief either, as he's completely covered in bandages and bound to a wheelchair. This reveal could have stayed in the extras, but was instead patched into the story. Why? We don't know yet. RGG studio head Masayoshi Yokoyama explained that Kiwami 3 will be the last of its kind and that the studio will now switch to a new series rather than more remakes. In a rather vague statement, he claimed that it all will make sense once we play it, and that everything will have a new meaning from now on. We will stay skeptical for now on whether that is a good thing. So what is our verdict for a release like Yakuza 0 Director's Cut? In terms of copy preservation, the Yakuza 0 Director's Cut disc on its own is fine for what it is. Overall, the game runs very stable, shows no major issues. In terms of staying true to the story and the series, though, this is a concerning trend that even seems to be continued in the new Yakuza Kiwami 3 release. Some of the additional cutscenes alter the experience quite a bit, and it remains to be seen whether RGG Studios can actually follow up on these changes in a meaningful way. Still, we had our fun with this one, and if you have never experienced the origin story of these iconic characters, at least give it a try. The standalone release of Yakuza 0 Director's Cut uses the same disc that is included in the 20th anniversary bundle with the two Kiwami releases for Yakuza 1 and 2, by the way. But as of the release of this video, you can still find the physical copies of the original Yakuza 0 out in the wild. We will leave a few store links in the description for you to check out. If you have played both versions already, let us know what you think of the story changes in the comments. As always, please don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and consider supporting our work through the Patreon link in the description below. Thank you for watching, see you next time. Does it play out?